Nate, looks like you're ready. Go ahead whenever.
Matt, Vince said the second half was a dream to play in. Just what was it like to coach a game that friend?
Well, obviously, both teams really played well offensively, and both teams really didn't have an answer in terms of stopping the other team. We had that stretch there to start the second half, to where it was kind of a seesaw. It just kept going back. They make a shot, then we make a shot. And so, the one thing we normally do is when we have some breakdowns defensively, in the past, and I'm just talking this year, but in the past, it affects your offensive game. I don't think it affected our offensive game tonight, which is a great sign. I think it was a sign of maturity as a team that even though things aren't going our way, Abdur Rahman was fabulous. Their whole team was fabulous offensively. We kept our poise about us and still executed on the offensive end, and obviously the same can be said for them too.
Coach, at least offensively, would you say this was maybe the best complete game of the year for you guys? You had 22 assists to 10 turnovers. You had it going on inside and outside with Haas and Edwards. Yeah. Very efficient on top of that.
Yeah, it was a great, offensive game. Obviously, we played really well in our last game and hit 23s. But it was a different game. This was a possession game and a back and forth game. You normally don't see that kind of efficiency on both sides in this type of a game. Normally, this game ends up at some point being a grinder, and it just wasn't. Just one of those games that both teams really played well offensively. But no, we played at a pretty high level on the offensive end.
Matt, you've had some really good teams here. 2010 team comes to mind until Robbie got hurt. Is this the best team you've had here?
Well, I think the thing that we do differently than that team is that everybody can shoot, so we keep you honest. And so when you see Isaac Haas down there and they stay one-on-one, and that's just a backhanded compliment, to the rest of our guys, because you should double him, but then, threes are more than twos, and so now they didn't double him and we make 11 threes. Well, heck, we're trying to switch to stop their threes, and they get 13 threes, so it kind of shows you kind of where they are offensively and where we were offensively tonight. It was pretty tough to stop, but I think it's very comparable. Both teams have some different strengths, but both teams have a very high value when it comes to competing and playing together and doing a lot of little things.
Can you speak to the game Vince had tonight in the context of the sort of season he's having and what you needed from him this year?
Well, I think he's letting things come to him. A lot of times guys that get 30 points, it takes them 20 shots to get there. And Vince gets 30 points on 11 shots, and he's just been really, efficient for us. I love him at that spot as a 4, and that's what we switched up on last year when we put Biggie at the 5 and put him at the 4. He's such a good passer. He can handle the basketball. He's got great experience. But I just thought he'd let some things come to him tonight, and he's been letting things come to him, here the past month. He's been very good.
I know you said this game was a little bit different than the last time you faced Michigan, but there's no denying that when you guys match up, it's a competitive game. What makes this matchup maybe so competitive for you guys, and do you thrive in that type of atmosphere?
Right. Well, they really outclassed us, I thought, last year in Ann Arbor. And then in the Big Ten tournament, we had the game and, where it's a possession game and they had to foul us. We miss a layup and then they send it into overtime. But it seems like our games more than not come down to the last couple of possessions. I just think that when they didn't have a 5 that could shoot, it really helped us because we could bottle guys up. When they have, and I think that's his system is the best when he has a guy like Wagner. Everybody's a good coach when you got someone like Wagner. But it's really hard on us to do that. And I think how we play, what we do is really hard on them. So I think we both sit around, our film rooms and try to say, is this the best thing for us to do to stop them? And I don't think that's a consensus. At least in our film room, it's not always a consensus. And the one thing that I have found from playing John's teams, I always learn something. I just don't want to learn something through a loss. But I always learn something. I always go back and say, why did I do this? And I felt the same way about Bill Carmody when he was at Northwestern. I felt the same thing about Dana Altman when he was at Creighton. They always had you thinking in their system. Like we had to adjust and stop doing a couple things tonight that I thought were, had been successful for us, but it obviously was not working and our guys were breaking down. But we have a lot of, obviously, respect for him and a lot of respect for the program.
What were some of the things they did offensively that maybe were different and maybe caused some problems?
Oh, they didn't miss.
How did they get the shots that they didn't miss?
I think we hit Abdur Rahman into the bench. I think we hit his head one time on another play and he still hit it. I mean, it was unbelievable. We're 6'11" guys aren't supposed to be able to shoot threes and triple threat. They're 20 years old the way Wagner does. It's just a really hard thing. I used to joke when I played, one of the hardest things to do in basketball is closing out on somebody, stop them from shooting and contain the dribble. It's a hard thing to do. And I'd always tell our coaches that, those closeouts don't work on Jim Jackson. And they were like, no, do this. I'd say, you can tell me whatever you want. It doesn't work on Jimmy Jackson. And so when you get against great players, man, they make you think and they make you break down. So, we're fortunate to get this win today, just like we're fortunate in Michigan, but that's kind of part of basketball, being able to, try to be one possession better.
Coach Beeline talked about, he said that without Caleb Swanning, he felt like you guys actually matched up better against them.
Yes.
Did you feel that way? And then to take it a step further, do you see that sometimes against other Big Ten teams as well?
With them, it's different. When you have that five that can pop and do stuff, and we just went to switching last year. I thought he did a really good job against us of kind of scrapping what he does and just kind of going to a weave into those ball screens. If they would have ran their stuff traditionally, it would allow us to use some help. And it's good stuff, but it really would have helped us more. I don't know if we'd have stopped him, but I think we'd have had a better percentage of stopping him. But when he was at the five, we just had some breakdowns last year at their place. And then when we got him in the tournament, we did a much better job switching. But with all that being said, Wagner got in foul trouble in the tournament. So, and Wilson had a great game. So Wagner was, good one game, and Wilson was good the next game. And so, but yeah, there's instances where when we go smaller, it helps us in our switches. And so I think against certain teams that have that ability, not everybody has that. And not everybody has 4 or 5 guys up there on the court all the time that can shoot like they do.
Hey, Coach, talk about the leadership of your kids on and off the floor. It seems to be a great group of kids. I ask you these questions each time. Just talk about their leadership.
They've done a great job. They hung in there today, and obviously when you let people score, they score on you, and you feel like you're doing a good job. A lot of times when people score, you're not always doing a good job. But then when they're making the tough shots that they were making, it gets frustrating. But I think our guys did a good job of hanging in there. And they've all done a good job, from Isaac to Vince to Dakota and PJ, our seniors. But our team's done a good job. I got some guys that come off the bench that deserve to play more than they do. And they do a good job of kind of keeping their head. Sometimes it's one of those things where they aren't doing anything wrong. You're just sticking with somebody that's a little bit older.
John said he didn't want you guys to make threes, so obviously that means that they're going to play Isaac one-on-one. But you need Isaac to finish then, right? I mean, he delivered when you guys needed him to tonight.
Yeah, Isaac's been great. I think, the last couple games he hasn't had the same amount of opportunities because people have loaded it up with their weak side guys and their low guys, or they've doubled them, and that's really got people in rotations, and we've been, got more attempts from 3 that way. So I totally get what they're doing. When you get against the balance of an inside-outside team and vice versa, you have to make a decision on what you're going to do. That's one thing.
Coach, off to one of your best starts in school history. In the world of one and dones, you have 4 upperclassmen starting. Can you just speak to how experience has gotten you guys as far as it has this season, especially? Yeah, well, they've been great. They've really worked hard at their craft. Obviously, we've got some really skilled guys. The thing about our 4 seniors are they're guys that have been with us for 4 years. They're not transfers. They're not 5th-year guys. And sometimes in today's basketball landscape, that's how you got to get old sometimes. Maybe take a 5th year or 2, which we've done, take a transfer, and try to be able to do that, because just like you're trying to get people are always seeming to be leaving everybody's program. When you have 800 transfers, the average comes out that 2 people are leaving each team, a little bit more than that actually. So you've got to be able to try to get guys and then develop them and keep going, but also it's hard to keep them, and it's hard to keep people happy. It just is. And to be able to keep those guys in the fold and grow them and develop, but also develop together, I think is really special.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you.